whatever money you have in your trading account is 100% at risk. There's been times where I'm green on the day. I'll go to dinner, have a few drinks. Let me look at Bitcoin really quick. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing, and I fucking lose the account.
Prominent figure in the forex trading community.
Lambo Raoul.
The problem with materialism is that you're trying consistently fill a void with new materialistic things that realistically it's like an endless pit.
Recognized for his scalping strategy and quick decision making in capturing minor price changes.
Trading is a game of probably losing almost half the time, and it's understanding how to lose correctly.
Yeah.
Which most people don't get.
You really have to give it your all. That's the only way, and really be as tunnel visioned as possible.
It's trial and error. That's basically all trading is.
Yeah.
You go and learn something, you apply it, and then you either win or you lose.
Going to go through a downtime, that's the time that you cannot let yourself get crushed. Find solutions to put out those fires, and that's really where you're going to see the most growth.
If you had to say something to all the young, inspiring traders out there who want to be the next Lambo Raoul, what would you tell them to do to get started?
Honestly,
Hey guys, before we get started, I just wanted to offer you access to my exclusive Wolfpack Discord group that's now based on WAP. Basically what you're gonna get in here is something I call the Quantum Cipher Report. This allows you to steal and copy all of my trades and learn my exact trading system. Every Monday, I'm gonna give you the best crypto altcoin picks that are getting ready for explosive moves. I'm also going to give you the best trade setups in forex, futures, and CFDs as well. You have to be a multi-asset trader if you truly want to take advantage of the entire trading environment as a whole. Not only that, you're going to get access to the Discord, all of my courses, over 30 hours of recorded educational content, in addition to my TradingView degenerate indicators. Okay, so if you want access to my WAP, there's going to be a link below. Join the Wolfpack and get all of the best trading picks in crypto, forex, and futures sent to you every Monday. On top of that, 30 hours of educational content so you can learn my entire system, all for one low monthly price. I'll see you there. Lambo, Raul.
Yeah.
What's good, brother?
What's up, bro?
Speaking of Lambo Raoul, obviously you probably came up with that name after you finally bought a Lamborghini.
Yes,
or
I
what
did.
was the what was it before that? And then I guess what was the trigger for that?
Before, I had changed my name on Instagram, which is pretty funny because like even like when I walk down the street now and somebody recognizes me, they don't even call me Raul. It's yo Lambo, and I'm like, oh, how are you, bro? Nice to meet you. But it was such like a random occurrence because I started my Instagram page solely for the purpose of just posting my car and the build of the car, because I was really into the car scene at the time. Like even nowadays, like people will name their Instagram like F80 whatever. You know? So I built my Instagram page. It was Raul GTR because I had a Nissan GTR at the time, and I was at a party one day. It was a New Year's party, and I already had the Huracan at this point, and that's kind of like the whole car that I was posting. I was posting the build when I first got the car, then when I put the body kit on it, then when I put the wheels, the suspension, the exhaust, showcasing the entire build of the car. And one of my boys, he comes up to me and he's like, yo, why is your name Raul GTR when you don't even post it anymore? Like, you barely drive the car anymore. And I'm like, damn, you're kind of right. So then right there on the spot, I changed it to Lambo Raoul, and it just stuck ever since.
Now it's just Lambo, bro.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, but now you got a Bugatti. So
Yeah.
what's going to happen next? Is there a name change coming up?
No, there's no name change. Lamborghini just has a brand, and how they represent themselves and represent the brand will always be my favorite.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I feel like it's just like a thing in Miami. Me and my producer were just in the elevator coming up, and I was like, Lambo Raoul is his name. Like it's just like that's just so Miami. I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like it is. I feel like it is. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, anyways, you've been day trading for how many years now?
I made 8 years in October.
Yeah. And I guess what were you doing before that, and how'd you get started?
So before day trading, I was kind of always doing something, whether it was like building a gaming YouTube channel and then selling it to the person whoever wanted it, or I tried starting a business as well with my brother. So I actually went to a business camp, and they made us build an entire business plan and like start a business. And the business that we started was like custom built PCs. So I did that for a little bit. Never really went anywhere. Never anything seriously. It's maybe like a couple $1,000.
So you're like a gamer.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I always have been since I was like 8 years old, talking about like when I was 8 years old, I was on Call of Duty world at war, and that's what started my gaming life, if that's how you want to put it. But I was always doing something. I guess like when I was in my teenage years, what really made me money was when I was selling dental products for my dad.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say really got me to start making money when I was probably like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah. And your dad, he's like a big success story as well, right?
Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah, he
So what
does
does he
very
do?
well for himself. So he is a dentist and he's also an investor.
Yeah.
As well. I'm actually going to be getting to business with my dad for the first time soon. We have a whole business plan that we're going to be buying out a few clinics. Because what he's really good at is buying a clinic that's maybe grossing, I don't know, $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Let's call it. And then adding value to that clinic, adding different services to that clinic, and then, you know, potentially making $2 to $3 million a year in revenue from that. So we kind of have a whole business plan together. We're going to start buying out all these clinics that are profitable, but not extremely profitable, making them extremely profitable, and then potentially selling the whole portfolio. So that's kind of what we're going to be moving into in the next year or so. So it's exciting because it's going to be the first time I'll be getting into business with my dad, and especially on something that he knows, but that's predominantly what he does.
Yeah, right on. So I guess you got a pretty good relationship with your dad if you're going into business together, yeah?
Yeah, I would say like he was probably like one of my very first mentors. Like even, you know, nowadays, like, you know, I'm potentially looking at moving to this property. We're still trying to finalize a deal and everything. And he was just telling me and giving me advice as to, you know, what I should do, different things I should look out for, different things to take into account. So I would definitely say he's like a big person in my life. But, you know, just like all relationships, they've had their ups and downs. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes you don't want to listen to their advice.
Yeah, I know.
It's
and
just like,
it's hard, especially when
in
you're
one ear
wrong.
out the other, just like,
I know.
and no,
I know.
not right now.
Bro, I know. There's times where I'm like, I know he's right, but I don't want to admit he's right because I don't want to give him that satisfaction. But I'm going to take his advice anyways, but I'm going to pretend like I'm not taking it.
Yeah, right on. That's funny. So anyways, getting back to the beginning of your trading journey, was there like anybody that you're watching on YouTube that you were inspired by, or what was kind of like the trigger of like,
So,
you're
I
just
mean,
sitting here that as a gamer, then like, wait, there's this online trading thing. What's this about?
Yeah, so I mean, the way I stumbled upon trading, I was actually in the hospital. So I like went through a whole Crohn's disease epidemic where I was frequently in and out of the hospital from like 15 to like 18 years old is when I was like, it was really bad. And initially I wanted to go to the military.
What is Crohn's disease? I don't know what that is.
So Crohn's disease is just another form of like inflammatory bowel syndrome.
Yeah.
So it's inflammation in the intestines.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of probably the most excruciating pains that I've ever experienced in my life. And the thing why I feel like it lasted me so long is because for 2 years, the doctors didn't know what was wrong with me and they couldn't diagnose me. Like they thought it was so many different diseases, but I didn't get like a real diagnosis for 2 years. So it was like testing medications and then failing those, or those medications wouldn't help. And then testing new medications and new types of therapy, and then that wouldn't help. And it was just like this whole thing. I even actually had my appendix removed when I didn't need to.
Really?
Yeah, because the doctors thought it was appendicitis. And my appendix
I feel like
had
that's
burst.
a lawsuit.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, you know, it was so...
You're desperate.
It was so long ago, and, you know, my parents just wanted me to get better and recuperate. And obviously, like, bro, the amount of drugs that those people put me on at the time, like, I'm a 15-year-old kid. I don't know what is going on. All I know is that, you know, I'm in pain, and I want you guys to help me stop it. They thought I had appendicitis, and they removed my appendix. But when they actually went through the process of removing it, they came to the realization, I guess, that my appendix didn't burst, but they found an infection on top of my appendix. So it was like, bro, it was just so many things to the point where they finally got to the diagnosis. And even then, like, once I actually started going through the different therapies, because originally at first it was like I had to take like 12 pills a day, like 3 in the morning, 3 midday, and then maybe like another 3 spread throughout the night. And I would do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then that clearly didn't work. And then I ended up going to the doctor back again because the inflammation wasn't coming down. I had to take a shot every single Wednesday. I missed one shot, and then I had another flare-up. I went back to the hospital from that. And you know what is actually pretty crazy, and I still can't explain this to this day, but I was actually on an IV kind of therapy where I had to go every month or every like 6 weeks to go get an IV infusion of anti-inflammatory for my Crohn's disease. And I felt worse. Yeah. Not from like an inflammation standpoint, but just like overall. Like I was weighing like 125 pounds as a 17-year-old at 5'11". I was super pale. I was anemic. I was just, it was terrible. I had no energy anytime. And like that day when I had to go get my IV therapy, like just count me out as I'm out of commission for that day. So I don't know what came like over me, but I was just, one day I woke up, I'm like, I'm not doing this shit. I'm not taking this shit anymore. And I stopped. And I decided to kind of clean up my diet a little bit, start working out, and I felt like amazing since then. The only real thing that I have now is like, obviously, like you have to really watch what I eat. And, you know, I still could get flare-ups nowadays and go back to the hospital, but it was really bad at one point. It was actually terrible. And yeah, so I wanted to go to the military, and after doing research, because I was like, wait, I got to take an IV every single month. Can I even do this in the military? And I looked it up online, and they said that I couldn't actually enlist. And then started thinking about different ways of how I'm going to make money, because I was 17, like turning 18 at the time. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be an adult pretty soon, so I got to think about something. And the one thing that always kind of like stuck to my mind was the stock market. Why the stock market? Because every time I hear of somebody who drives a really nice car,
it's always the stock
Ferrari,
market.
it's the
at least in
stock
the movies.
Yeah, at least in the movies, right?
That's how I got started as well, just watching stock market movies.
Yeah.
Brief interruption here, guys. Did you know that 75% of traders have accounts under $25,000? This creates a huge problem, because even if you double that account in a year, which is almost impossible, you're still only making $25,000. Introducing Hydra Funding, where you can potentially get access up to $500,000 in capital. All you have to do, guys, is sign up for a challenge account, which is going to give you potentially access up to $500,000. And if you earn a 10% profit in this demo account without going into a 5% loss overall or a 4% loss in a day, you will then pass their evaluation phase and, yes, get access to an account with the selected size account. And now, instead of trying to double a $10,000 account, you could potentially earn only 10% on a $100,000 account to earn the same level of profits. And the benefits of this are huge. Rather than risking your entire $10,000 on one account, you can use just $1,000 to potentially get access to $100,000 in capital. You can trade crypto, forex, stocks, CFTs, gold, oil, everything under the sun, all on MT4 and MT5. If you're interested, if you have an account under $25,000, like 75% of traders out there, you're not going to make any money with that account because it's too small. Get access to pro level funding and pro level capital with Hydra Funding. Link's going to be below.
It was a stock market. So then started researching up different ways to make money online. I remembered about like people, you know, who have Ferraris and stuff. They always talk about stocks. So it must be something in the stock market. I looked it up and I actually came up upon trading forex and not stocks. So that's how I kind of got started in this very hectic industry.
Yeah, it's a wild industry, especially in Miami. It seems like this is kind of like the mecca of forex and CFDs in this area.
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like it was way bigger then, or back then versus now. I feel like a lot of people have transferred over to futures, but even then, like people can still trade indices and like the derivatives of futures on CFDs. But CFDs is pretty large, and at that time, I didn't even know what the difference between like CFDs, futures, options, stocks were. Yeah. To me, it was just like, okay, well, this is trading and this is currencies. This is what people do.
Yeah, yeah. So when you were beginning in that learning process of trading, what was that like? Like, what was your kind of path? Like, did you have success in the beginning? Did you go through a lot of failures? Like, what was your kind of path to finally finding success?
I actually found a little bit of success in the beginning. Obviously, nothing like concrete, but there was definitely like a really big trial and error game because I had bought in a few courses at the time, but I was still constantly making mistakes. And honestly, like when I was going through those courses, what they taught, it's like, okay, yes, I would learn it, but I would never apply it. Yeah. So it was kind of almost like for nothing, but it was good to get me to understand what candlesticks are, what price action is, what supply and demand might be. But then from there, it was really just like a big trial and error phase that took me a really long time to kind of get over that learning curve. And then the thing about trading, though, is I feel like there's always going to be some form of learning curve. Like it never really stops, especially like as you mature and you start to trade more and more and more, and you start to manage different types of capital within trading, and then you trade different markets. There's so many different things. And I thought what trading was is just one day, my trading is just I'm going to make money, and I'm always going to be making money. And, you know, I came to the realization very quickly that was not going to be the case.
Yeah. No, it's not the case at all. And just like you're saying, it's trial and error. That's basically all trading is. You go and learn something, you apply it, and then you either win or you lose. And it's either you win because, yes, that setup worked out, or you messed up that setup and you just fucked it up. or you come to the realization that trading is a game of probably losing almost half the time. And it's just understanding how to lose correctly.
Yeah.
Which most people don't get. They're like, I lost on half my trades, or you say if you say you have like a 50 to 60% win rate, they don't understand that you can actually be making money based on the RR and the actual risk. So if you could go back over and do it again, what would you do differently?
Really, it would just be coming to an understanding that I'm not going to win every single trade, because even though like on paper I knew I wasn't going to win every single trade, I didn't actually believe that I wasn't going to win every single trade. So whenever I would take a trade, I would always think that that trade that was a loss was actually because I messed up in the market, and sometimes it was just the probabilities didn't play out in my favor. So whenever I would lose a trade, I would immediately try and change something in the strategy or the system, whether it be entry method, stop loss, take profits, whatever the case might be I would go and change that versus kind of coming to the realization like you're going to lose at some point. Like I could probably lose 5 trades in a row and still falling with that probabilistic edge inside of my system, and it not be something that I'm just fucking up on. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
So that's definitely what I would go back and change. And of course, understanding what R multiple is too, because at that time I didn't understand what R multiple was. I probably didn't understand what R multiple was until like a year and a half in.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. It's funny that when you said that, it reminded me of playing golf. When I fuck up on golf, or I chunk it or shank it, rather than just going back to like what I've been learning, I try to adjust. And that's the same thing like when you're talking about losing in trading. It's like you didn't mess up on the trade. That just trade didn't work out in a probability. And so rather than adjusting it, you just go to find the next setup and then understand that if the statistics do work out and your probability is that you're going to win maybe 50 to 60% of the time, as long as you keep your RR, then you're actually going to be profitable. So you play golf too a bit. How's that going?
I haven't played golf in a while, but the last time I played golf, I did pretty well. It's just quite funny because there's a lot of things in golf that I could feel like definitely relates to trading, which is it's pretty crazy to actually think about, isn't it?
Yeah, like the trading psychology versus golf psychology.
Yeah,
like golf is a mental game as well.
100%.
Fully. It's I love it, but I fucking hate it because I could trade all week and then I go play golf all week, and if it's a bad trading week and a bad day of golf on Sunday, it's just bad. What am I doing to myself? This is fucking awful.
Yeah. I know. Like sometimes you go and you play golf after a really shitty losing day to just make it worse on the golf course.
It's fucking brutal, man. I'm about to go play 3 rounds in Palm Springs right after this, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I love golf, but it's just that on top of trading is like the 2 most stressful things you can do.
Yeah, I definitely agree, bro. And like the thing about me too is like whenever I start something, I want to get really good at it. So like when I started golf, it was immediately right away. Like I used to play a little bit when I was a kid, but when I started it, I wanted to be better than all of my friends right away. Yeah. So I got lessons, I got clubs, I did everything, and I would say I play golf pretty decently. I could go play a round of golf and not lose a whole pack of balls, you know?
Oh, when I started, I was going through so much money in balls. That's where all my money was going on balls, golf equipment. But yeah, ever since I started, like I just built a $40,000 golf simulator in my house. I bought a car just for golf. Yeah. Like I don't need a fucking car in Bali, but I play golf once a week. So I bought a car just so I could drive to the golf course once a week. So it's like, it's just, the bill keeps adding up for golf. It's super fucking expensive, but it's an amazing game. I think golf is probably one of the best investments you can make into your future, because it's like the only game that you can go out with your bros when you're 70, 80 years old.
Yeah, play.
And still go play.
Yeah.
What else? What other sport are you going to do that?
You're
going to go play ball with your fucking bros at 80 years old? Yeah. No. Look at Trump. He's 78 out there still with Bryson DeChambeau is fucking crushing it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So I think when I was thinking about it, I was like, I think this is a great investment in my future. Even if it's frustrating as fuck. Like, I think it's important to have something to go do with your bros into your later years. There's like a statistic showing that as men get older, their friend group continues to fall and their wife becomes their best friend. And as women get older, they still stay in their network of friends. So I feel like golf is like a combatant to that, because that gives you friendship network as you get older into your 70s and 80s and later years in life. So but other than that, it's just going to stress you the fuck out.
Yeah,
100%.
But
I love it. But anyways, so what exactly is your approach to the market, and what are you trading?
So right now I'm trading indices. I still trade CFDs. I'm trading a little bit of commodities. I trade futures, and I actually just recently started trading options a little bit as well. Which throughout all of the different markets and instruments that I trade, my approach is essentially the same. The only thing that may actually change is what time frames I'm actually trading. So with options and futures, I'm trading smaller time frames.
Like trading stock options?
Yeah, stock options. And then with commodities, I'm trading a little bit larger time frames. So essentially, every single day I'll approach the markets after my fundamental analysis. If there's any economic data supposed to come out that day, let's just say it's a clear day, then I'll just continue to trade as normal. So, I mean, there's a few different rules, but overall, the approach is I'd start off with a top-down analysis, look at what the daily time frame is doing and what the daily time frame has done over the last few days, and analyze like the most recent trading days candlesticks. Then I'll break it down to a lower time frame, like the 4-hour time frame. Look at the market structure, look at the price action, look what happened overnight, what happened in the pre-market, and then also what could potentially happen in this specific session. Then I just start breaking it down to like an hour time frame, then 15-minute, then a 30-minute time frame, then a 5-minute time frame.
Time frame. Just
Every single time frame. So like I'll mark up my main key levels on the day. I'll also look at the market profile and TPO charts as well to see like where my main levels of interest are also going to be as well. And I'll just literally take it from there. So after I mark up where my main levels of the day are going to be based off the market profile chart or based off of just regular key levels and support resistance or supply and demand, I'll start to plan what levels I'm going to look to take trades from. So if the overall trend is bullish, but the lower time frames are bearish, I may actually wait for some form of a bullish signal to potentially buy that market. Or if maybe we're at a high and we start having like bearish confirmations on the lower time frames, then I'll start to plan on how I'm going to potentially look to take shorts. And if I am going to be taking counter trends on shorts, then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to lower my size on this type of setup, and I'm not going to be looking to marry this trade. Versus like if it's a trend continuation trade, I may increase my size and I may actually look to hold that trade for a little bit longer. So this is all done in the pre-market. So that way, when the market actually does open, all I have to do is just simply wait for price to get to my area, my level, and then I'll just take the play that I initially set out to take on that specific level. So initially, like on the day, I'll have maybe like 2 levels where I may look for continuations, and then 1 level where I'll look for some form of a reversal. And then based off of those 2 levels, I'll either look for a bounce play or a break and retest or maybe like a breakout setup. It really just depends. But the system itself and the plays that I'm taking on a daily basis are the same. And my approach is always going to be the same. It's just, again, price action is not always going to be the same day in and day out.
Yeah. And what kind of like holding time are we looking at here for your trades?
So long term for me right now is like 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's like long term for me. On average, it's about maybe like 15 minutes. It depends. Like if I'm trading futures, 15 to 30 minutes is pretty average. With stock options, it's maybe like probably like 15 to 20 minutes, still kind of around the same, except, it moves like crazy when there is volume. So I'm in and out very quickly too. And I also don't want to hold trades for too long there, but I'm a lot more confident with holding certain positions. And also depends if I'm trading prop or personal too. Like if I'm trying to go for a prop challenge because I want to see how this company is building out their business model, then, there's so many different approaches. With like the futures firms, they all have so many different rules. But when it comes to like my own personal main trading accounts, it's really just trying to let my winners run for as long as possible. Because now I feel like, especially with Trump in office and the moves that we've seen are pretty much going to be moves that we're going to see over the next few years. So instead of, going from like that, like quick scalping where like maybe a year and a half ago, my positions would maybe be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, looking for quick 2R multiples, 2.5R multiples. Sometimes now I'm really trying to shoot for bigger R multiple trades and really try and let my winners run for as long as possible, because I was going over my data over like this last year, and one thing that I was doing horribly on was holding my winners. There were so many trades where I cut it at a 2R, 3R, and it could have ran to like 6, 7, 8R. And I'd be so much more profitable in the year.
Yeah. So how are you going to combat that? Just use trailing stops? Or take partial TP and then let the rest run with the trailing?
So the thing I don't like about partial TPs really is like you're taking a lot off early on. So for me to like remove 50% of my position at like a 2R and then remove like another 10% or 20% at like a 3R, I would much rather hold the position for longer and just trail my stop loss based off of our multiple. But the tricky part about it is depending on the market conditions, whether we're in a ranging market or whether we're in like a really good trending market, would determine the results on moving on how I move my my R multiple. So if I throw my R multiple or if I throw my stops by R multiple, then in those situations, I'm going to find that I'm going to get stopped out pretty quickly because my stop losses typically are pretty small. I don't really trade very large stops. My take profits are also pretty small as well, but that increases the probability where if I move my stops to break even at like a 1R, then I'm going to get tapped out more than not. Versus if I maybe move it to like, if I move my stop down 50% of where my original stop is at like a 1R, it leaves me a little bit more room and a little bit more chance for me to really try and let that winner run. So I'm still kind of in the process of how I want to do that. But the way I'm currently trailing my stop loss now is based off of my targets. So if let's call it like ES is pushing into a major level of resistance, let's call it where there's a lot of resting liquidity on the heat map. And, you know, we've tapped into that area and that's one of my main targets where I'm like at a 3R, then if I don't see like an immediate breakout and a break through that specific level, then that's when I'm just going to close and cut the position versus if price breaks right through that level and instead of being up 3R for my main targets, I'm up 4R, then I'll move my stop loss to that level. So then that way, at least I secured what I set out to actually secure and anything else is just like icing on the cake.
Yeah. And are you using like volume profiles, like book maps and stuff to analyze your trades?
I'm getting more into it, but honestly, like I don't really use the book map too much. I'm a little bit more into the footprint charts compared to the book map because I feel like there's a lot of noise on the book map. Like there would just be like a ton of liquidity resting.
I used to use it for a bit, but it got noisy and conflicting signals, and I was like,
and I'm like, so like I'll look at it now to really just see how many orders are actually coming in, and you can also see that on the foot map, on the footprint as well. But to be honest with you, like I wouldn't really say like I'm super deep into order flow. I'll look for like certain confirmations on the footprint charts, but I'm way better of a price action trader than an order flow trader.
Are you mostly just supply and demand, or what's your?
Yeah, I would say my foundation is supply and demand.
Yeah. I think that's anybody who's trading price action, supply and demand is just the basics. So
yeah, to me, it's what makes the most sense.
Yeah, it is. It's like basically the core truth of how price moves.
Yeah.
So if you understand that, that's how you can actually gauge where things might go.
Yeah.
But it never works out the way you want it a lot of the time. But you also have a lot of influence in the business space of trading. What are you up to these days in the trading space business?
So right now we're essentially rebuilding our prop firm. Prior, we were dealing with some business partners that didn't have the same views as we did, and we actually went down because they pulled the plug on us overnight. So I don't think I've ever really said this like publicly, but what ended up happening was like there was a big argument between them and us, and contractually they're supposed to give us 30 to 60 days to get our affairs in order, move the clients over, and it'd be a smooth transition. From Friday to Monday, they're like, yo, that's it, you guys are done. So they pulled the plug on us and it left us dark, and we've been kind of rebuilding from then. But the one inefficiency that we saw in the prop firm space is, one, a lot of prop firms essentially going insolvent and not having money to pay out their traders. So we knew if we were coming back, that's not something that we want to run into. Then we asked ourselves the question, how? And it really just comes down to A-booking the profitable traders. Yeah. It's what it is. If you don't A-book your profitable traders and you're just solely like a demo and a B-book model, those traders are going to be a business expense. And yeah, sure, you could ban them from your platform, tell them you don't want to do business with them, make up some bullshit excuse like, oh yeah, your trading is too risky. But then like you're going to take reputational hits. And that's not something that I want to be a part of. So over these last like few months and few weeks, we've really just tried building out a system where if somebody truly is profitable, then they're actually going to be trading real money for us. And they won't be a liability, but an asset to our company. And then what that allows you to do is if you have like 12 months worth of data for this specific trader, you can see what his average return is every single month, every quarter, every year, let's call it. And instead of him maybe trading on a $200,000 account, yeah, sure, he could trade what he thinks is 200K, but he could realistically be managing $500,000 for you alone. Big money comes into play as well. Obviously, we wouldn't tell them that because then it's like, oh, wait a second, I really have 500K, and that's where they fuck it up. But that's kind of like what we've been working on and building, and we want to provide that value to the community.
Yeah, no, the prop firm space has been a wild journey. We launched Hydra, I think, 2 years ago, and it's just been interesting to see just where it's gone. And everyone just kept dropping prices to compete. And we were just like, there was the race to the bottom. Something's going to happen. Something's going to break. And obviously we saw a bunch of shit break and so many people go under. And it just boiled down to, like you said, becoming insolvent, where the payouts are starting to outweigh the revenue coming in. And then people, I think a lot of people don't understand how prop firms work, and they don't understand how and why they wouldn't be getting a payout because they're not getting A booked. They're getting B booked.
Yeah.
And just there's no revenues from the company to them pay them out. So it's like a fine balance of this like teeter-totter act to be able to have enough reserves in the business to be able to pay out the profitable traders. And like you said, if you have profitable traders, A booking is like the only way. How many firms are going to do that? Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, because I mean, the majority of people, especially the people that go to the easy to pass prop firms, I mean, it doesn't make sense for that specific prop firm to maybe A-book some people, but I feel like they haven't just even looked to it. But I feel like it's one of the main reasons why we've had a lot of prop firms actually go unders, because it was literally just a race to the bottom. They were doing huge discounts, making it super easy to pass your evaluation.
50-60% off sales.
Yeah, like to me nowadays, when I look at a prop firm and I see that their discounts are like 40, 50, 60%, that's a red flag. Like I wouldn't even.
They're trying to bring in as many people as possible to get sales, but
then
at the end of the day, if they do get profitable traders, they're fucked.
And if you look at it from like a business perspective, if a challenge costs $1,000 and you're automatically discounting, let's call it 50%, $500, you still have technology costs.
Yeah.
You still have maybe, I wouldn't even say liquidity providers because most people don't even A-book, but you still have customer support. There's so many other expenses. Like by the time you look at it, the net revenue from that one person is what, $100?
Yeah, and if you paid for ads, how much did that ad cost?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Now, one person comes in and gets a $2,000 payout. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You know,
completely
so it's like
fucking gone.
Yeah, so that's one thing. Like our challenge isn't super difficult to pass, but it's not easy to pass either because we want people who are genuinely skilled, not just coming in, pressing buy or sell, and getting lucky and passing the evaluation really quick too. And there's, I mean, it's going to be a nonstop of so many prop firms go down. Another prop firm just went down the other day too. It was a futures firm. But again, I'm here for sustainability and how we could provide and do good business to the clients.
Yeah, same. We're running a very low risk model where more than half of every sale goes into reserves.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one big thing too. I feel like a lot of these prop firm owners too, just whatever money comes in is whatever they're pulling out. Yeah. Which is crazy. Like for us nowadays, like I haven't pulled out a single dollar from my prop firm recently, just left it in there for the traders, just in case.
Yeah, you got to have a big rainy day fund just in case.
Yeah, and not even just that. Now with the A-book model, we constantly just have to dump money into our marginal account. Yeah. It makes things different.
So is your prop firm live, or are you guys still in the rebuilding process?
No, we're live.
Yeah.
We're live. I'm just not pushing it heavy because we're just focused on long-term sustainability. And then once we start to have like different system in place, we're we're right now in the process of rebuilding our customer support because we didn't feel like the last one was super efficient. So before we have all of like our good systems in place, then that's when we actually want to start bringing in some more volume. So right now we're just in like that rebuilding kind of phase where, you can come on, everything's going to run smoothly. You can still get your payouts and everything, but we don't want like a ton of volume just out of nowhere. So we'd rather do slow and steady growth and be here for the long term.
Yeah. What about day trading institution? What is that?
So that's just my online educational platform. So essentially that's just my course where, we have a good amount of traders too, but also at the same time, it's hard managing so many different things and running so many different businesses as well. So like before with day trading institution, I would just kind of let anybody in. Yeah. Now I actually have a system in place where you actually have to go through an application and talk to one of my team members and then you'll actually get in. Yeah. But before it was just like anybody could just come in at any point in time. And nowadays it's like, I don't really want like a ton of people coming in. I'd rather just focus on more quality people. So we definitely increased the price of our product, but then at the same time, we also increased the value. And I don't really think many people have had students come in where they're making 30 grand a year. And then after 2 years of being in the day trading institution, like one of my students, I think he got 330 grand in payouts the last time I spoke to him, which now it's way more. Yeah. So there's not many people who have helped other people actually accomplish something like that.
Yeah. So are you mostly teaching people, I guess because the trading model from someone trading on a prop firm versus trading their personal account could be way different.
Yeah.
Like I was just talking to Q, and Q's talking about how he's risking 15 to 20% per trade. I'm like, that's fucking wild.
Yeah, that is big. That is big. Yeah.
But like at a prop firm, you can't, because your max drawdown's what, like 6 to 8% or however it is, whatever your prop firm rules. So you got to be risking like 0.5 to 0.1 or 0.5 to 1%. So what is your kind of risk approach?
So it's funny because I actually made a blog post about this in my day trading institution, like how I would trade personal capital versus funded accounts. But for me personally, like my risk approach, I wouldn't really say like it's up on a percentage basis. It's just on a basis as to where if I have $500,000 in a trading account, I'm okay with losing maybe 20 grand on this trade. So what I find from a percentage perspective is typically like I'm risking around 5% a trade, but it also depends on the trade itself.
Yeah.
Because there's trades where I heavily size in, there's trades where I take a ton of size off.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say like I actually look at a percentage when it comes to my own accounts. I just look at a monetary value. If this is what I'm comfortable putting behind this trade, then I'm okay with it too. Because the one thing that I kind of took into consideration and learned a while back is whatever money you have in your trading account is 100% at risk.
Yeah.
And I say that because for me personally, at least, there's been times where I'm green on the day. I'll go to dinner, have a few drinks. Well, let me look at Bitcoin really quick. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing. And I fucking lose the account. And I'll never forget that. That happened to me maybe my second year in, probably like 2.5 years in, where I was up 30, 40 grand on the month. I went out to dinner with my family. I'm feeling good because I just had a huge green day. It was like a $10,000 day, which got me like 30, 40 grand. And immediately I lose half the month's profit because I just wanted to take a trade on XRP.
Yeah.
So I came to that realization very quickly. So like different things that I do now is like, let's just say I plan to start a new account and I want to go in with, let's call it $100,000. I'll put 50 grand instead of the full 100 grand. And I'll set the other 50 grand aside, but I'll trade as if I have 100 grand because I have the leverage and the margin to do so. And that way I'm realistically only exposing myself to 50% of the risk, which a lot of the times I don't even get close to that. Just really depends on the goal of the account overall.
Yeah. So you're trading crypto as well?
Long term. Now I'm kind of dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. I want to start trading and fucking around with the meme coins.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before we started.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say like I'm a crypto day trader. For me, it's just, you know, I'm going to dump money into Bitcoin every single month, every single pullback, and we'll see in 6 years, you know?
Yeah. So have you started any memes or no? Like getting into trading it?
So I fucked around today with one of my friends, and I ended up just buying Diddy coin. Like, I bought it knowing that it's going to hit zero. Yeah. And I was okay with that. I was okay with that. And fuck it, bro. You know, if say some shit happens and Diddy, all the cases, all the charges are dropped against him, and that shit pumps up to $5, bro, then I'm rich as fuck, you know. But if it doesn't, oh well, whatever. Bro.
Yeah, that's like the long shot, right? If he gets cleared, that's like what are the betting odds are going to be highly in your favor. Yeah. That's wild. Yeah. Meme coins are fucking crazy. I trade meme coins that are like already on the major exchanges, that are already like kind of like past the whole kind of like big pump phase, like going from a DEX to the big broker. So I don't mess around with like the ones that could be potentially rug pulled off of some fucking DEX. Like I haven't gone down that road yet, but that's how you're gonna make like the 1,000 to 5,000% moves, which is fucking crazy because some people are like, you can track some of these wallets. Some people are turning like $47 into like 4 million.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's insane.
It's actually insane, which I've looked at some of those wallets and I'm genuinely impressed.
Yeah, it's wild.
I'm genuinely impressed. But I feel like the crypto space is just so much different, and it's degenerate, especially. I mean, how many people are buying Diddy coin? You know what I mean? Yeah, Diddy coin sounds like a great investment.
It's very enticing because it's like the idea of being able to turn a little amount of money into a lot, fortune. And it's like buying a lottery ticket. Yeah, it's like people are coming from a space of they have no income and they have no way to get out of this situation. So they're like, oh, I heard this story about someone buying a fucking cum rocket coin.
Yeah, literally, bro.
Making bank.
I know, literally. So my approach is with the meme coins is simple. Whatever money I put in it, I'm considering it gone. If one of them hits, cool. All I'm gonna do is just look at the big wallets where they're buying and just buy the same meme coins. Hopefully, early enough to where after the pump, I'm just gonna take
I think you kind
of
of got to just like take the approach of find which ones are like going to be backed by the right people, divvy up into like 20 of these, and if you hit like 2 or 3 of them, even one,
it's chilling.
It's
great.
Yeah, you'll have your ROI. I haven't even gone down that road. Like, we'll see, maybe someday. But as of right now, I'm just sticking to what I know.
Yeah, me too.
But I fucking hate meme coins. I just think they're so embarrassing that it's just like, because I trade other crypto, like the real crypto assets, and none of them are doing shit.
I know.
All the fucking, it's just the meme coins that are fucking pumping.
Bro, could you imagine going to your CPA? Yeah, I made fucking $2 million this year on Diddy coin. He's gonna look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? That's wild.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Speaking of turning small amounts of money into large amounts of money, what do you think about account flipping on all these like forex accounts? Because I see it all over fucking YouTube.
I mean, I've done it before, but it's not something that's sustainable.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. You know, you can't expect to do it every single time. And again, like the way I personally look at it is when you see a flip on YouTube, you just have to ask yourself the question, well, one, if it's real, how many times did he attempt to do this before actually making it public, you know? And a lot of the times when you see like these really crazy flips, I don't personally believe in it when something sounds like really, really wild. Like, there's some things that I feel can be done. There's certain things that I've done that I know, like, okay, well, you know what, this is possible, but there's just some things that are just, I feel are so outside of the realm of possibility that I would just say it's probably better to not try and just constantly flip accounts because you're just going to get stuck in a gambler's fallacy and just cycle. It's almost the same thing as going to the casino, you know?
Yeah, anybody can have a short string of luck, but eventually using that same strategy is going to blow up no matter what.
Yep.
Every single time.
Especially when you're like full porting every single trade. Like again, you can get lucky once. Maybe that's what you're looking for. And I guess that's not like profitable long term. Day trading.
Do you think Alex actually turned $100 into $1 million?
If he did, you know, that's great for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a wild story. It's I have no idea what to think about it, but he did post that he had a 60% win rate previously on his Instagram. I don't think you can get 100 to $1 million with a 60% win rate.
It, again, is very tough. If, you know, he did do it, you know, hats off to him. That's something that probably not even people in Wall Street could do.
Yeah. No, I don't know what to think about it. It's a bold claim.
Because, I mean, even if you start with 20 grand, 20 grand is pretty good starting to run it up to 100, then from 100, so on and so forth. But there's just some things that are crazy, bro. Yeah.
Do you still trade forex or no?
No, not at all.
Why not?
Not at all. I just feel like the market is different. I just feel like when it comes to like price action and intraday volatility, you're gonna find way more volatility on futures. Compared to forex. And I looked at my average hold time versus like my average like income when it came to forex. So my average hold time for me to make 30 grand was about 5 hours on forex versus on futures it's 30 minutes. So I've essentially increased my income while decreasing the amount of time I spend watching a trade, because when I traded forex, I was just constantly just staring at the markets, whether I had it on another screen, looking at my charts, working on something else, or distracting myself with something else. Versus nowadays, like today, this morning, I think my trade was maybe 10, 15 minutes at most on ES shorts. I mean, 16 grand. And it's 10, 15 minutes, you know, compared to sitting there for 5 hours for almost the same result.
Is that because you're trading like the U.S. stock market open and it's just that small window of time frame where I guess Forex is 24/7. So it's like New York session, London session, Asian session, and it can just drag on to the next session before the moves actually come into fruition?
Yeah, no, for me, I just trade the U.S. market open versus when I traded Forex, it'd either be like the London session or the New York session. You know, it's basically it. I really only trade from 9:30 in the morning till like 12 o'clock is pushing it. I'll probably cut it off around 11, and I'll really only take one position from like the window of like 9:30 to 10. If I end up losing or if I have a green day at that window, I'll walk away and I'll kind of call it a day. If not, then I'll wait for that 10 a.m. volume to come in, because by then, like, you already have some pretty decent market structure and a better idea of what's probably going to go on throughout the rest of the day, because you have like that initial move from the market open. And then from there, you know, that's pretty much it, bro. Trade from 10 o'clock to at most 11, and by then I should be done trading. Because if not, then I've gone over my statistics. I'm not as profitable like midday, afternoon versus like the first initial like 2 hours of the day.
Yeah, that's one thing I did enjoy. As long as I was based in the U.S. or in like East Coast time zone, like if I used to spend a lot of time in like Colombia, just trading the U.S. Open, 9:30 a.m. to like 11:30 or so, and it was just like dialed in. You know, that's like where the most volatility is. That's where you can find a lot of predictability. But yeah, if I dragged it out into the middle of this session or in the end, that's where I would just like make money in the first 90 minutes and then just slowly bleed it all out afterwards. Whereas now I trade forex as well now, but I swing and I trade off like the weekly chart. So these are like monthly.
You know,
holdings.
What's funny, like the majority of people that I know, at least now, that trade forex, I mean, they're position trading. They're not even day trading. It's pretty wild to see it.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine personally holding trade for weeks on end.
Yeah. It's well, the thing about it is also because I'm still like, when I do it, I'm risking 1% to 2%. So I could make a day trade that day and risk 1% to 2%.
Still be in that position trade,
and I'll make 3-4% on profit, and I could do that in 20 minutes, or I could risk the same exact amount, but it might take a month to make the same amount. Yeah. So it's like the time to take to risk that still the same 1% to 2%, but I have a higher probability of winning because when I'm looking at these charts and day trading, and I can't fucking day trade anymore, dude. I live streamed for like 7 years straight, and I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, I can't imagine live streaming for 7 years straight. I'll live stream in my community for like 2-3 months, and I'm sick of it after 2 or 3 months. I don't know. The thing is, I like trading for myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I get so lost in the whole community thing that I forget why I even started trading for being here. It wasn't for the fucking community. It was for myself. So I like to take these long breaks from live streaming and trading with my audience and just really lock in on myself. Because then at the same time, for me personally, when I'm streaming with my community, I got to read the chat, focus on answering questions, and it takes time away from my own thought process of what's going on in the position. I get distracted. Yeah.
No, I used to do it where I'd be live streaming, and if I have to send out an alert, I had to fill out a form for like ticker, entry price, stop loss, exit price, because I had like a custom like alert system. So I'm like trying to fucking trade and fill out this form and talk at the same time. And a lot of times I would just end up trading for them, trying to go for a bigger win than I should be because I'm trying to impress
trading
them.
For yourself.
Yeah. So that it definitely affects your ability to be profitable because you're no longer trading based off of kind of like a system as opposed to, well, maybe I'll bend the rules a little bit to try to like to make a good trade because that's what fucking works on Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah.
So speaking of Instagram and YouTube, obviously you get a lot of clout by posting cars. What's your kind of like approach to lifestyle marketing?
Honestly, I don't think about it as marketing. I just think about me living my life and showcasing it.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people that they go out and do specific things for marketing, but whatever I do on my day-to-day basis, I just post and show it. It's just like the way I view my marketing is just me living my life.
Yeah.
It's really all it comes down to. And I actually get asked that question quite frequently. But to me, it's just me living.
Yeah. How many whips you got now?
Right now, I don't have a lot. I have 4.
Yeah.
I have 4. I have my Rolls Royce, the Bugatti, the SVJ, and the Porsche.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
SVJ for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Even more than the bug?
Yeah. You know, I've actually even contemplating on selling the Bug because somebody came to me and they offered me pretty good over what I paid for it. And with all the opportunity I feel like coming now, it's just I feel like it would be better invested than in a car. Yeah. So like I don't really have an emotional attachment to the Bug. Worst case scenario, I always buy another one. The one I am emotionally attached to is my SVJ.
Yeah, the one that you get all like the student signatures on it and shit.
I even have the CEO of Lamborghini signature in it.
Really?
Yeah, his is when you open up the hood of the car, it's right there, date, name, and everything. So yeah, it's a pretty sick car. And to me, the Aventador specifically was one of the main reasons why I set out to be like, I'm gonna do some shit for my own one day. So to have essentially the top of the line Aventador, it means a lot to me because it just speaks to me on my own journey and how far I've come. And I feel like I neglect that sometime because the problem with materialism is that you'll immediately get it, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It becomes whatever.
Yeah.
But then like you'll try and consistently fill a void with new materialistic things that realistically it's like an endless pit.
Yeah.
So trying to find happiness in that anymore isn't something that I'm trying to do. And I did that for a very long time because me personally, I was going through a lot over these last few years. So what I thought could temporarily make me happy was just consistently buying just materialistic things. And the one thing that always got my eye and attention was cars. So when people ask me like, oh, how many cars have you owned? I've owned every single one possible.
Yeah.
Like, and I've lost money. I've made money on some of them, but realistically, at the end of the day, they're all losses. And, you know, I look back at it, and just with the one dealership alone, I bought in $22 million worth of cars.
Yeah.
$22 million worth of cars. Some cash, majority financed,
Yeah.
but even the down payments in them. And it's like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you're sick in the head.
Yeah.
At 26-year-old, how are you going to have gone through $22 million worth of cars in the span of 5 years? And, you know, just thinking about it now, I guess it's me maturing. It's like, I could have had the cars that I wanted to have, just sit on them, chilling them, been maybe a little bit more responsible, invested that money, and my net worth would be quadruple what it would be right now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just everyone kind of goes through that process. Like, I mean, I'm 40 now, but I was like starting to do the whole car thing, buying cars. And then, well, it was also like you said, you continually try to fill a void because you do get that excitement when you got it.
Yeah.
You post it on the gram. You're like, what's up? You're fucking driving around, that feeling of like, oh shit, this is sick.
Yeah.
And then a week later, you're like,
Oh, whatever.
there's a new car that just came out though. No,
Yeah.
fuck, now I need to go.
Bro, and you know what's crazy too? When I bought my first Bugatti earlier this year, immediately, a month after the dealership contacts me, they're like, hey, you want an allocation for the new Tourbillon? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck do you mean a new Tourbillon? What? I just fucking spent $3.5 million on this car. Are you going to try and sell me on a $6 million one now?
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck. And I started thinking about it. Damn, maybe I should just sell this now and then order it and then just get this one. It's going to be a way better deal. Like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it, bro. And I sold it. And then by the time it got sold for the price I needed it to sell for,
Yeah.
they ran out of allocations.
Really?
And I got fucked. And then I was like, damn, I just sold my car for no reason. Whatever, bro. Later on, I'll just get a Pure Sport. And I ended up getting the Pure Sport.
Yeah.
But it's, man, life is crazy. Life is crazy.
First world problems, bro.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. But some cars are good investments. You just have to do them. You have to do them right. And you honestly, like, the only way you're not going to lose on a car is if you order them.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really the only way you're not going to lose on a car. I mean, if you get a car for a really good deal, it's going to stay at a really good deal always. It's not like you're going to get a car at a really great deal and then sell it for higher. It's not going to happen.
Your dad is into cars too, and your sister, yeah?
Yeah, he's the reason why I got into cars. You know, it's funny. I got pissed off at my dad the other day because I started go-karting when I was like 3 years old, and I was go-karting from like 3 to 9 years old. I'm like, I could have been an F1, but you decided to pull me out of go-karting. And we're just kind of talking. But, bro, essentially cars is in our family. My grandpa used to race rally cars.
Yeah.
My dad used to race Porsche GT3 Cup, which I want to get into Porsche GT3 Cup as well and race in those divisions, but shit's bread.
Yeah.
A 911, I think it's an RSR, is like $600-700 grand. And not only do you have to buy that cash, you have to pay for the races. And it's like, I'll get there at one point, but I don't want to burn 600 grand like that almost every single year probably to get into racing.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have to go through like proper training to become qualified?
Yeah, to race like that, yeah, you need to get a license, which I know I'll get very confidently because even when we would have normal track days, I would drive around the GT3 RS and it was a cup car. It wasn't like a street car that we just put on the track. It was a legitimate cup car, 5 extinguishers. You had to turn it on very differently. It was a race car. No traction control. And I know how to race them pretty well. I'm very confident with my racing abilities, but you know, different paths of life, different priorities right now. It's not a priority of mine. I feel like I've already gone through my phase with my cars. Realistically, like I was even thinking about it the other day. Right now, what my main goal is to do is give my family stability.
Yeah.
I've got little kids. I need to get them a nice home that, you know, we're going to live in for the next 10, 15 plus years. And then from there, you know, once that's done and settled, then I could kind of go back to doing whatever I want to do.
Yeah. What's it like to be a father?
Oh, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. For me, it's the best feeling ever because, like, before working for myself, like, it's cool, but, like, you get comfortable very quick. You know, I'll make 200 grand on a trade. I'm like, bro, like, I don't need more for the month. That's I'd say I'll slack off whatever, probably even take shitty trades just because I want to wake up to trade. But nowadays, not only is it like a big responsibility, but after, you know, I leave the house and I'm on meetings or calls all day and I come back home and that little crazy girl starts running at me from the living room to the door, just screaming, raving around the toy. It's the best feeling ever, bro. There's nothing that could potentially replace that. But it's also like a feeling of like, you better not fuck up.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess it changes priorities, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And right now, my family is my priority. So
yeah,
that's what I'm working on.
How long you been married?
I've been married for, well, we're going to make 2 years right now in December.
Yeah. I was actually talking to my producer about this today, and we were talking about kids, and he asked me if I wanted kids. I said, yeah, but I was like, but I don't, because when I think about it, I'm like, do I want kids right now? I'm like, no. So, but I do want kids. So I'm like, is there ever going to be a point where I'm like, yeah, I want a kid now?
Yeah.
Was there like a point where you like had like, all right, I want a kid right now?
Yes and no. Because I agree with you. I personally feel like there's never going to be a time where you're truly going to be ready.
Yeah.
Like you got to take the step if you find the right person. And I mean, to me, when I had my daughter, my wife, I wanted it. You know, she was the one for me. I knew my wife is the one for me, and she was going to be a great mother no matter what happens in our relationship. And we both planned it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, a little young, but
yeah.
No, I've seen younger.
Yeah, but I just turned 40. I still don't have any kids.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend for the last 3.5 years, but we're not married.
Yeah, we all go through different paths in life.
Yeah, marriage is, I guess I'm a little emotionally damaged from marriage, just watching my parents go through a rough divorce. So like when I think about marriage, I don't think about like happiness.
Yeah.
I think about like, oh, that looks fucking rough. And like it's going to be a fucking disastrous divorce. And fucking
yeah, I've seen a lot of divorces as well. And these are like different things that me and my wife have obviously talked about.
Yeah. Are your parents still together?
Yeah. No, they're actually not. My parents are not together. My dad's married with his wife. And my mom, she's being a great mother.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, these are like different things that we discuss. Like we don't joke about divorce. We don't talk about that. And no matter what, if, you know, we ever get in a really bad argument, what we have to think about is baby and the family and how we could potentially resolve any situation that we are going through.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we definitely had a lot of discussions about. But to be honest with you, if I were to restart marriage, I don't know if I would get married again, like on court and through paper. My priority is to get married in front of God in the church.
Yeah.
That's my priority. But at the same time, it is nice for her to have my last name, you know?
Yeah. And she knows that you signed on the dotted line.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. See, if I got married, I feel like, well, just statistically, there's a guy who's been on. Do you ever watch Diary of a CEO?
No, I haven't.
He's another podcaster guy, but he had a guy that came on. He's been on twice. He's a divorce lawyer, and he's just talking about all the statistics and all the stories that he has to go through as a divorce lawyer, and just the statistics of it. He's like, this is the riskiest thing you're ever doing in your life.
Riskiest business.
Yeah. And so it's like, and another thing, if it didn't work out with me and my partner and we did get married, I don't want to have to ask the government for permission to break up.
Yeah, I know. I've thought about that too. I've looked at all the statistics as well. The only thing I don't like about it is like you're involving the government in the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I said if I were to go back, we just get married through church and that's it. But at the same time, it's this is another form of how we are showing our kind of
Commitment.
involvement and commitment into the relationship.
Yeah. How impactful is religion in your life?
I would say it's very impactful. I'm not like super religious in the sense of like I go to church. I read the Bible every single day, but I definitely, my main goal is to build a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's my main goal. So every day I pray, I read whatever quotes I want to go and read through. Sometimes I'll even just open up the Bible, just skim through random pages, and just wherever my finger lands that's kind of like my Bible verse of the day. But I need to make it more of a priority because I really want to start understanding more about the Bible, really getting more into the religion and really just the story of Christ overall. Like I know a lot about it, but it's not like I've read every single verse that's in the Bible. And I mean, whatever problems that I do go through every single day, I'll put it on Christ and, you know, trust in his plan and his process.
Yeah. I find religion so fascinating because I don't believe in any religion, but I think it's a net positive for humanity because I think it gives people a lot of purpose where they would find none otherwise, where they're in a situation that they're just like, my life sucks. I don't know where to go from this, but they have something to look to and look forward to. They can wake up still thinking like this is part of the plan, the process, things are going to work out in the end. But for me, I'm just like, I think I'm going to just die and rot in the ground.
Yeah. I've done a lot of different research.
Were you always religious, or was there like
there was definitely periods where religion was like on the back end of my mind. I mean, I grew up as a Catholic house. I grew up in a Catholic household, but I think I converted more into like just Christianity. Yeah. Overall, from what the Bible kind of reading in states, but to me, it's not like the overall title of like Christian, Catholic, whatever the case may be. To me, it's overall building a relationship with Christ. That's my entire thing.
Yeah. And what does that do for you?
So for me, not only does it, like if you read about Christ himself and the way like he kind of carried himself when he was actually down here and the lessons that he teaches you, not only do I feel like it's made me become a lot better, but it's also made me become a lot more thoughtful about how I approach certain situations. And especially when it comes to like forgiveness on certain things and certain people and what people may have done to me, to not hold that grudge around, especially because I see a lot of people nowadays, like one person may, let's call it, I don't know, one person may stab another person in the back. And it's like, they still talk about it to this day. I'm like, bro, that happened 4 years ago. Like, I'm not trying to be like that. Yeah. So for me, it's definitely something where I've learned to definitely forgive what people have done against me. But obviously, I wouldn't forget what happened because I'm not going to allow it to happen to me again. But it's definitely allowed me to live with more love in my heart and carry myself around in a manner that is very different that I feel like many people would actually carry themselves around in, thinking like people are, especially here in Miami, bro. Yeah. There's a lot of people, just because of what they may have or how much money they may make, they think they're automatically better than you. But to me, that's not the case. You know, there's been times where I've had a shit ton of fucking money, and there's also been times where I may have not been doing so well. And it really just shows you how fast life can actually change. And there's certain people where I've seen them come up, they're essentially the top. They're on the top of the world, treating other people horribly, waiters horribly, they lose it all. Yeah. And it's like, that's why I've definitely learned to treat everybody the same. It doesn't matter, you know, what your net worth is. As long as you're a good person, at least in my eyes, then I'm going to treat you with utmost respect.
Yeah. Word. Well, if you had to say something to all the young, inspiring traders out there who want to be the next Lambo Raoul, how would you, what would you tell them to do to get started?
Honestly, I wouldn't really even say to be the next me, because a lot of people are like, yo, I want to be like you one day. And I'm like, no, bro, your goal should be to be the best version of yourself and a better version of me. Yeah. But really, it just comes down to like whatever industry that you're going to start in, whatever industry you're going to be getting into, whatever industry you're doing research in, you really have to give it your all. That's the only way, and really be as tunnel visioned as possible. And it doesn't matter whether you're in trading, whether you're in business, there's always going to be ups and downs. What I've learned is you're going to go through a downtime. That's the time that you cannot let yourself get crushed. You always got to push forward and find solutions to put out those fires specifically. And that's really where you're going to see the most growth. You're going to see the most growth during times where you're actually down and you're really getting hit hard, because those are the best learning lessons.
Yeah, that's where the truth comes out. Word. Yeah. All right, Lambo. I think that's a wrap, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Good to meet you, man.
I appreciate you for having me on.
For sure.